understanding crucial first movements, especially if you've had a C-section. Now, the art of birth really should be a full-term delivery, natural, for many reasons. However, life doesn't always go as we plan. And especially too, if you've had a C-section already, there's a difference even between an emergency C-section, which actually can be a lot more beneficial to your child, despite the birth trauma part thing. It all depends where that's at, versus having a scheduled C-section, because baby doesn't experience any labor. Usually an emergency C-section, labor is involved. Again, not all cases, right? You know, we're in the 21st century and most people don't know how to give birth to a baby. And this is what I'm trying to do with the details for baby's first movements. It's not about that C-section was bad. It's not about a C-section is good. It's that when certain things happen to your child that immediately deviate them from their first movements, from their first milestones, from their first reflexes, we've got to jump right in and just say, nah, you want to come back this way. Because again, if I go 10 feet and I'm off a foot, by 100 feet, now I'm off 10 feet, right? So that's where you see a lot of people coming in at the 5, 6, 7 months level, you know, looking for milestones that should have happened months early and much more efficiently. Again, I'm about the quality of movement. You know, a baby falling off a pillow to most parents is oh, my baby rolls over. No, it's not rolling over. And there's variations to the forms, and this is where we're going through the milestones. But the question was asked specifically about C-sections. So when you're going into a C-section, right, again, what you're not thinking of is the baby is meant to come head first. Now, usually this is a big thing too. If it's an emergency C-section, I like an emergency C-section because they've at least had the contractions. So contractions are important because it's the first time a baby's feeling force, right? There's active mass muscles in the mother's womb, but there's also passive muscles so the baby can get into position. This starts getting them ready for their first rotation, which is out of the vaginal canal. A baby has to rotate. And you have to think of giving birth sort of like a butterfly. If we help them out of the cocoon, if we take the cocoon off, that butterfly is not going to fly. We're all made the same way for a reason. We have to look at the quality and the essentials for birth. So if it's a C-section, right, if it's an emergency, guys, they're going in. And usually if the child's in the vaginal canal already, they're coming out foot first. They're pulling the foot. And so that's one of the things is how did they come out? I would love it if all C-sections came out again head first. But again, you know, in a C-section, they're not all created the same. They're there to protect your and save your life, and they're there to save the baby's life. At the end of the day, a baby that goes home alive, doesn't matter if it's trach or whether otherwise, that's a successful birth. We really have to change that scale because now people hear, okay, I had a successful birth. I went home. Now I'm expecting development. And this is where we come in with the newborn movement assessment. The newborn movement assessment was created for me for several reasons. First of all, not everybody has an evaluation tool. You know, I have mats and stuff that I'm trying to produce that show baby movement immediately after birth, so the elevation to get to neurology, let's say for cerebral palsy, can be coded and covered by insurance. But the newborn movement assessment is for any parent and professional to know if that baby is ready to start creating milestones. Same with for reflexes, all of that. They need to have rotation within their system. If they don't, I can guarantee you that's why you're here. It doesn't matter if you have a stroke, Parkinson's, or something happened, torticollis. You can go on and on and on. Cerebral palsy, autism, but the movement that is creating issues in your child's development is lack of ability for rotation. Because anyone lying on the floor can't get off the floor without using rotational movements. That's how movement is created. Now I can talk to scientists till I'm blue in the face, and a scientist think of linear movement. Well, you just stand up. I don't need rotation. To get to the point that you know how to stand up, you needed rotation. And you're going to need rotation to be in stand, because right now I'm spinning about 900 miles an hour on this earth, and we counter rotate to stand up. If I was literally just standing up, and we look at this in England or the Vatican, there are certain military people that stand so erect, it's not funny. These people have to go through severe psychological testing to see if they're able to withstand the organization changes to the human body just by standing straight up and not moving. It is just not the way our body, look at me, I'm moving all over the place. I do my hair, we move. And this is where too people have social emotional problems. We go into drinking and so forth because people are just used to that necessary movement in our systems. Not to go off topic from C-sections, but I think the analogies are helpful for people to get that, oh, okay. And sometimes we have to get away from birth to go back to birth. So to know where to go with your child, first of all, that's where the free evaluations come in, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what kind of contact I've created or Joanne has created and so forth. If it does not translate into the language, the knowledge that you need to get from us, it's just not going to, as they say, sink in. And it's not to say that it's your inability. You are now, when you have a child that you think is going to need help learning to move, learning to see, these are concepts none of us ever thought we would have to do for our children. I'm so included. I had no idea. I just thought my son was sick. He'd be better in a couple of days. If someone would have told me that first day that hey, lady, you're looking at the rest of your life, I would have been like, what? And it took a while to know that I was capable of helping my child. Yes, there's many professionals like me in the world, but guys, you got to do it. You've got to do it. You've got the capability. I'm never going to teach you otherwise that you can't do it, that you have to have me or you have to have somebody else. We're here to guide you. We're here to offer our expertise, but that's what we're here for. So my first question would be is, where is your child coming in on the newborn movement assessment? It is a free course. It will always be a free course. My second question is, did your baby have compromised breath, breathing, anything to do within its first 3 months of life? Because even if it's that first breath was off, I can guarantee you that on top of what you went through with the C-section, that child will need some form of therapeutic intervention to get to walking. Why? Because if the brain does not get stimulated properly, and this is where movement lesson it goes after cognitive development, if that brain did not get its first breath, it didn't learn to oppose gravity, and the easiest thing that we do, which is breathing, then they're not going to know how to oppose gravity or organize gravity in walking. And that's, again, where the therapeutic process comes into play. But it's catching these things early and doing these things. So there are many courses that I offer. If your child's at risk, I really suggest the fast track support. Why? First of all, it's the cheapest way we could have done movement lesson. And again, it's not about being cheap. It's about availability. A family in Pakistan, their average salary is $600 a year. I have American bills, I get that, but we're all from all over the world and people have different hardships. And two, also, when a parent doesn't feel the need yet or understand the need to get involved with development, they're not going to invest into it. I'm here to say that these courses are the cleats that you need for soccer practice. You just, I'm not saying that it's therapy. I'm not saying you have to learn a movement lesson. I'm here saying you've just got to stimulate your child's development. And it's just movement, and it's fun, and it's play-based, and it's bonding, and it's loving. It's not like, oh, I got to do this again. And you can do it while you're nursing. It's really just that easy or that available. But so going into it, again, pure and simple. 1, newborn movement assessment. 2, the breathing course. The breathing course is just great anyway because it really can refine your touch. When you're working around breathing, you really develop that nice, gentle hands that a parent has. And then 3, going into, everybody wants the next milestone. I really suggest you go back or stay in the milestone that you're at to get that better foundation. and then go on to the next. Foundation for movement is the foundations for your life. You know, we're here working on your child's future. We're not working on their past. I know when we tell you to go down a notch, you think that we're working on their past. But really, to have a better past, it's sort of like the movie Back to the Future. I'm showing my age. You know, I mean, that's what you do. You're going forward. You're going into the future, but you're still bringing your talents from behind. And that foundation and development. But a C-section is not the same as natural delivery. It is a different process. And if the baby does not get its first movements that we need to, and I'm not saying don't do a C-section, but what I'm saying is we need to look at the movements. It's just like when you nurse. Your nurse is a bilateral feed. It's rotational movements. It sets up vision. It does so much more than just the nutrition that you offer as a parent. But maybe you didn't want to. Maybe you couldn't, or you have infection. There's medications you have. It's adoption. There's many reasons why someone can't nurse. You're going to want to go with the much smaller bottle. Don't do these big bottles, small bottle. And guess what? I'm right-handed, and I didn't know better. I fed my baby only this way. 2 breast tissues. You want to be here. You want to be left-handed. You want to offer a bottle-fed baby the closest opportunity that you can get for a suck. They also go after nursing, bottle feeding, they're kind of back. It really blocks the midline processes. Again, these are simple things, but they will affect speech, or they can. They will affect, your vision. They will affect and these kind of things are just, again, we're just bringing out the awareness of where you can work with your child. If your child's medically fragile or they've been in the NICU, there's a NICU to home program. So I don't mean to give you too much information. I'm sorry, this is a long live. But I'm just trying to say we're here to help you. The best way you can get started is to post a video and get that video review so you can know exactly where you need to be. Every course we offer is a money-back guarantee. If you feel for whatever reason you're not where you need to be, just back it out and we'll take care of you, and we'll get you into the right course. If you feel like, but again, the fast start is so cool because the first 2 months are free. But after that, it's like, what, $20 to $30 a month? And then from there, you're just going to go, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I only need a couple of days in tummy time. Look, I got this. Okay, let's go over to rolling over. And you can start building your play-based activities as you see fit. Or if your child's already in crawling, but I'm asking you to go back to rolling over, you can do that or work on the crawling course and just play around in the whole first year of development. Every video that I can produce or do produce, you can do on anybody. Sometimes I have to show you an adult so you can see my handwork, because the kids, I can't get them to hold still in a sense where I can get the cameras in. But that doesn't mean you can't apply it to a sleeping baby or a moving baby or your infant, and the same thing too, if I do a video on a baby, you can still do it on a 97-year-old. It's not about exact, put your fingers here, put you there. If you use gentle touch with rotation, you will stimulate development. It's just physics. It's just the way the math of movement goes. So I hope that wasn't too long-winded, and we'll go from there.